Nuwa creates humans. Nuwa is the mother of mankind in the legend of the Chinese nation. She is a female god in ancient times. Her lifelong achievements are to create humans and refine stones to repair the sky. When the universe gradually becomes clear from chaos, light and clear substances float up, and heavy and turbid substances fall down. There are only the sun and the moon in the sky, and only grass, trees, and mountains on the ground. The world is quiet and desolate. Time has flowed for countless years and generations before the great goddess Nuwa woke up from eternity. After Pangu created the world, he turned his body into flowers, trees, mountains, rivers, wind, rain, thunder, and lightning after his death. In this way, there are flowing winds, bright sunshine, gorgeous flowers and plants, shocking thunder, etc., between heaven and earth. And there is a thriving scene between heaven and earth. The goddess Nuwa wandered here, bathing in the spring wind and rain, and admiring the magnificent scenery. Suddenly, one day, Nuwa felt, "What seems to be missing in this world? What is it?" She walked on the quiet and silent land, puzzled. But why is the world still lonely? This lifeless silence made Nuwa feel very lonely. Nuwa suddenly realized, because it lacked the spirit of all things, human beings. Nuwa did not want to be lonely like Pangu until old age, and wanted to create a new life. By chance, Nuwa came to a pool. The clear water of the pool reflected Nuwa's beautiful figure. So she grabbed the loess on the ground, kneaded it into a doll-shaped thing, according to her appearance, reflected in the water. Perhaps it was because it was made by the hands of gods. It was also very strange to say that when Nuwa put this clay doll on the ground, this little thing came to life, opened its eyes, opened its mouth, danced, and jumped around. Nuwa was very pleased with the results of her labor and named him Man. Although the body of man is very small, he was created by the goddess Nuwa herself, so he was born with a unique ability and demeanor, and had an innate control over birds and beasts. Nuwa was very satisfied with her work. She naturally became excited and kept looking for loess and pond water to continue her great project of creating people. She wanted to create many, countless people, so that this lonely world would no longer be lonely. In this way, she used yellow mud to mold many men and women. These lovely people surrounded their mother, jumping and cheering, expressing their respect and gratitude to Nuwa for giving them life. Then they scattered alone or in groups distributed in various places in the vast wilderness. Nuwa continued her work, and one after another, living people came into this world from her hands. There were more and more people on the earth, and the lively noise around could be heard at any time. Nuwa was full of surprise and joy. She no longer felt lonely because her children were already in this world. But it was too slow to mold people by hand, and the world was so vast. Nuwa worked for a long time, but there were still not enough humans on the earth. Exhausted, she pulled down a vine branch on the cliff, stirred it with dark yellow mud, and sprinkled it on the ground. As a result, the places where the mud splashed turned into lively people. There were more and more people on the earth, and finally it became bustling. The earth was full of vitality, and there was no longer the emptiness and loneliness of the past. There were traces of human activities everywhere on the earth. Humans who had just come to this world were as ignorant and innocent as newborn babies. Sometimes they felt as free and easy as galloping horses, and sometimes they felt as comfortable and contented as leisurely deer. They didn't know how to weave and sew clothes, so they were naked. They didn't know how to make fire and cook, so they enjoyed the rich products of the earth to their heart's content. They didn't know how to build houses, so they lived in the woods or caves. These life knowledge had to wait for other gods to teach them. Nuwa considered the issue of human reproduction the most. Humans are going to die, and Nuwa could not create humans forever. Therefore, she let human men and women match up to give birth to offspring, take the responsibility of raising babies, and continue from generation to generation. From then on, humans lived and multiplied on this land, and there was no end. The 4 seasons of spring, summer, autumn, and winter alternated. Trees blossomed and bore fruits, birds migrated with the seasons, and humans were carefree. In order to make humans live more happily, Nuwa also created a musical instrument called shenghuang, so that people had musical entertainment. Many years have passed, and humans have been living a happy life. Perhaps it is difficult to see a rainbow without wind and rain. Perhaps it is because the world is new. It must go through several wind and rain before it can finally stabilize. Perhaps it is God's arrangement that humans are destined to go through the baptism of disasters before they can mature. In short, after people had a good time, the most drastic change since the creation of the world occurred between heaven and earth, the disaster of the collapse of the sky and the collapse of the earth fell on people's heads. This sudden change almost brought a catastrophe to mankind. Perhaps there was a turmoil in the kingdom of God, or perhaps there were weaknesses in the newly opened world. The 4 pillars of the sky that supported the 4 corners of the vast sky, southeast, northwest, and northeast, broke off. The sky suddenly collapsed, and a huge crack appeared. The earth cracked open, revealing a deep valley. The sky no longer completely covered the entire world, and the earth could not support so many creatures. The fierce fire was burning fiercely, and the raging flood was flooding everywhere. All kinds of beasts, evil birds, and strange pythons rushed out to harm humans and took their lives. Humans fell into an unprecedented tragic experience. Seeing her children suffer such a tragic disaster, Nuwa had no choice but to start another great work to save humans from dire straits, repairing the world. Nuwa pulled reeds from all directions and moved them to the bottom of the crack in the sky, piling them up like a mountain as high as the sky. Then she went to look for blue stones that were the same color as the sky. Since there were not so many blue stones on the ground, she picked out many colorful stones from the rivers, and all the stones were piled on the reeds. Nuwa used a big tree with fire to light the reeds. The flames suddenly jumped up and illuminated the whole universe. The 5 colored stones were all burning red. Nuwa refined for a total of 9981 days and refined a total of 36.5 million stones, all of which were repaired in the sky. When the reeds turned into ash and the fireworks dissipated, the sky was already blue, as if it had never been damaged. Nuwa used the remaining reed ash to block the floods, and the earth returned to its original appearance. Although the holes in the sky and the holes in the ground were repaired, the sky became shaky due to the loss of the original 4 pillars, and there was a risk of collapse again at any time. Nuwa thought hard and finally came up with a good idea. She found a big turtle, killed it, and cut off its 4 legs, and stood them up on the 4 sides of the earth to support the sky again. The world finally returned to its previous stable state. Then she killed the vicious black dragon and drove away all kinds of evil birds and beasts. From then on, the disaster was quelled. Nuwa protected the existing achievements of Pangu's creation of the world and saved the human home she created. Since then, there have been no major changes in the world, and humans have continued to multiply and prosper to this day. The order of the universe has been restored, and the world has become prosperous again. Nuwa felt really tired at this time. She wiped the sweat that flowed like a waterfall, and without taking a rest, she bent down to pick up reed ash and filled the cracked gullies on the ground. The sky was repaired, and the earth was filled. Nuwa used up all her strength and lay down, lying under the sun, moon, and stars, lying on the green mountains and green waters, and never got up again. This goddess, with strange magical powers and hard work, everything she did was full of love for mankind. There are two versions about Nuwa's last trace. One is that Nuwa lay down because she was too tired after repairing the sky and never got up again. Her intestines turned into 10 gods and men, guarding the center of the road in the vast wilderness of the western desert. Since the intestines have been transformed into gods to guard peace, the role of Nuwa's body can be imagined. Another theory is that after Nuwa finished these things for humans, she thought that there would be no more trouble in the world. So she left humans to let them live independently. Nuwa rode on the thunder chariot, drove the dragon, with Bai Chi leading the way in front and Tang Snake following behind, and ascended to the 9th heaven. She reported her work to the Emperor of Heaven. And then she no longer boasted about her deeds, nor did she praise her merits. She did not feel complacent about her merits, thinking that everything she did was just in accordance with the natural laws of heaven and earth. It is precisely because of this that people in later generations have praised Nuwa for generations. And when people remember her achievements, they all think that they are from the 9th heaven to the underworld.